lecturer in education at UNSW here in the School of Education. Well, my area is language research, and my area of interest is about how, when we learn language, how do we operate interculturally? So how does language education relate to intercultural competence? Students who travel, who go to other places to immerse themselves into a language, how do they acquire intercultural competence through that experience? And later this year I'm going to be spending 4 months in Guatemala, Nicaragua and Peru, doing the final part of a 3-part study where I'm looking at people who are studying Spanish in intensive courses. So this is Australians, Brits, Americans, wherever, Taiwanese a few, studying Spanish in Central and South America. We assume, and educators assume, and people out there assume that having intercultural contact makes for intercultural competence, but it doesn't always. And so this study says, well, how do we make sure that when you study a language or meet people from somewhere else or go and do a volunteer project somewhere else, how do we make sure that that results in intercultural competence being developed? It's important in Sydney in particular, but Australia in general, because it's obviously such a multicultural place. And we talk about multiculturalism, and we assume that contact across cultures makes for intercultural competence. But as we can see, multiculturalism in Australia isn't without its problems. And so this research speaks directly to that issue of how do we make sure that the outcomes from education actually inculcate intercultural competence, rather than having exposure result in the certainties that people have held beforehand just being reinforced rather than challenged.